Okay, now for the long-awaited review from me about Final Fantasy 15. So first of all, I need to have a disclaimer out there that it's not a spoiler-free review. There's gonna go over some plot points and I might spoil the game. So if you haven't played the game yet, I advise you not to watch this video. Or if you don't care about the story or you just want to know what happens in the story, then keep watching. So, before you play Final Fantasy 15, I highly recommend anyone to first watch Kingsglaive. It kinda gives more context to the world. And then the second one is maybe watch the anime series of Brotherhood. The mini anime series gives you more information about each individual character so that you understand more of what each character goes through, what their personalities are like, etc. After you've watched Kingsglaive and Brotherhood, then begin the game. Because then you have a small introduction of the game. You know the world, you know what happens back in Insomnia while Noctis and his friends are traveling on this road trip. So the game starts off with you and your friends, which are Gladiolus, Prompto, and Ignace. So with your three friends, you're on a road trip, and then your car breaks down, and then you start pushing it towards Hammerhead, which is basically the first hub in this game. So once you get to the hub, you get some quests. Well, I'm sure most of you have seen this on YouTube videos and the demo, etc. So what really annoyed me was I thought that after the demo part, the game would pick up. After you get the car, I thought you had freedom to do a lot of stuff. But what ended up happening was you do the main side quest to get your car fixed. Okay, your car's fixed, and then, yes, it's an open world. It lets you do whatever the hell you want, but just the traveling part was really annoying. Like at the beginning, maybe for the first 20 minutes, 10 minutes, it's nice because you're in the car and you're still fresh into the game, so you're actively listening to the dialogue that happens in the car. But then after the 20 minutes, you just get bored because they don't have enough dialogue lines when they're traveling in the car. And the fast travel function, it's only open throughout certain times. You can't just fast travel anywhere that you've been before, which to me didn't make much sense. So you're supposed to go get married with Luna in some island place. What happens is, if you watch Kingsglaive, is Luna isn't there actually. Luna's back in Insomnia. So Noctis's father gets killed in Insomnia. And then you read the newspapers, and then you find out that, Insomnia got attacked by the Empire, and everyone's dead, Luna's dead, you're dead, and your father's dead. And you're just sitting there going like, what the hell just happened? That's if you didn't watch Kingsglaive. You would be really confused. You'd be like, what the heck just happened? But if you did watch Kingsglaive, then it fills that gap. Then the Empire attacked, all this shit went down, and then Luna Freya's still alive, and it's all good. But, in the game, as Noctis, you're like, ah shit. So you go back to Insomnia to find out what the hell happened. And then apparently there's this guy called Core, and then he's just like, yeah, your father's dead. And then Noctis is like, oh shit. And what really bothered me was Core was like, okay, meet me at Hammerhead. And then we're like, okay, sure. So we go back to Hammerhead, and then Sid's like, oh, Core's in the tomb somewhere nearby Hammerhead. And you're like, oh, okay, well, we'll go there and go meet Core, right? So you go to this tomb, and then you find Core, and Core's just like, oh, now you gotta collect these 13 celestial weapons. Well, they're not called celestial weapons, they're called royal arms in this game. But they kind of reminded me of celestial weapons in Final Fantasy X. So you're like, okay, so I guess I gotta collect these 13 weapons. But it felt really weird to just suddenly have like, oh, your father died, and then you're grieving, and then Core just sort of tells you, look, there's 13 celestial weapons, you gotta go find them to get your revenge against the Empire. And Noctis was kind of just like, okay, let's go get these weapons. So that to me felt really weird. Like, I would think that Noctis, like any normal person, would grieve a little bit longer, and I was hoping for like an emotional cutscene or something to put more weight on his father's death. But they kind of just skipped over it, or it wasn't enough to make it feel like his death was significant. That's what I felt. And then, so you go around the world, it's open world again, and then you can go collect these weapons. So these weapons, to me, even though I did say they felt like celestial weapons, but it also felt a little bit like in FF10, where you start your journey to collect your all those Aeons. But yeah, I was hoping for some secret weapons, like the Magma Sisters, you can get Anima, you can get Yongjinbo. You know, these were like secret Aeons you can get. So I was hoping that you could get more than the 13 they said. I was hoping that there would be, maybe 15 or 16, 3 or 4 extra secret weapons which were really strong. What I was hoping was, like when we saw in the trailer, the katana. I was hoping the katana was one of the secret weapons, or there was like an upgrade system that made these weapons even stronger. But unfortunately there wasn't, so that sucks. And then, so you just travel around the world, and then Arden. Oh, talking about Arden. Arden is the bad guy in this series. But he doesn't feel like a bad guy in the beginning. He's kind of like an enigma. He helps you out a lot. So in the very beginning, you're like, what the hell's, what is this guy up to? Because if you watch Kingsglaive, you would know that, Arden's clearly a bad guy. And he gives that really oily feel to you. You're just kind of like, oh man, this guy's a really smooth talker. And the voice actor for him was Darren DePaul. Darren DePaul did an excellent job doing the voice acting for Arden. Because whenever I saw Arden come up, I was like, oh man, he's gonna say something really, really oily and really sleazy and really, villain-like. It was great. It was really nice. I always got excited whenever Arden came on to camera and started talking to Noctis and Gladiolus and, to the party basically. But yeah, so I think that Darren DePaul did a very good job voice acting him. And on a side note, Darren DePaul actually is the voice actor of Reinhardt as well in Overwatch. So talking about the characters, you play as Noctis. Noctis is the main character. He's kind of this nerdy kid. He kind of reminds you, he's very relatable because he's basically, at the beginning, everyone thinks that he's just like a blank slate. I've seen a few reviews and they're like, oh, not enough character development on Noctis. They feel like Noctis was very bland, but I quite liked him. I found Noctis quite relatable. He was just a nerdy guy that just liked to have fun. So that was nice. It's nice to play him. But he's also carrying a lot of burden, a lot of weight. He's basically the king now after his father dies. But he needs to grow up and soon. So he's going through that mental struggle of responsibility and I guess having fun. Or, he's got a balance. He's trying to find the balance between having fun and how to be responsible with all the tasks that he needs to do. So he's going through that struggle, but he's quite relatable. And then the second character is Prompto. A lot of people don't like Prompto very much. I personally didn't feel like it was that distracting or that bad. I found him bearable. He was okay. He's the positive guy, that happy-go-lucky guy in the series. And so he was okay. He does photography and he takes pictures and he's just some positive guy and he always cracks jokes and stuff. So I find him okay. He's not too bad. Gladio or Gladiolus, he's the tough guy of the group. He's like, you know, if you're in trouble, I'll come and save your asses. Square Enix did a really good job trying to make the characters likable. So Gladiolus, he was okay. Ignace is the next character. I really liked Ignace. Ignace, especially when they gave him that British accent. It was very fitting. It was very fitting of him. He's basically the butler, and then, you know, he's the smart guy. He's the smart guy of the group. And he's also the cook, you know? So he cooks whenever you camp to get experience, he would cook. And when you eat food, you basically get all these bonuses. So going over the combat system is quite good. It's more fast-paced now compared to the old Final Fantasies. They made it more into like a hack and slash, but there's still a strategic element to the game, even though it's so fast-paced. But I think that's good. It's good for a lot of newcomers because, you know, if you're not used to a Final Fantasy game and you're not used to the turn-based system from before, it's a little bit dated. For me, I didn't bother using magic till much later into the game because I just was too lazy. So all I did was I just equipped really powerful weapons and I mashed circle and I just ran around and beat everything to death. But I'm sure you could play more strategically, especially in the post-game. Like in post-game, when I went to that last dungeon where you can't use items, that part I actually had to think a little bit. I couldn't just run forward and mash the circle button and hope that all the bosses die before I die. So that, I mean, you know, you can play strategically if you want, but it's also friendly enough and easy enough for you to just go Rambo as long as you're high level, as long as you grind a little bit, I guess. But I mean, you don't need to grind in this game. There are more than enough things to do in this game that keep you occupied. There's like a gazillion side quests, there are hunt quests, there's a stupid ass pinball machine who gives you most of the best items in the game, which is really annoying because I don't want to play pinball when I'm playing Final Fantasy. I want to farm shit. But to get certain items, you just have to play that machine, that pinball machine. In one point in the game, I think maybe chapter 3 or chapter 4 or something, your car gets stolen. And, you know, I was ranting about it, like, just earlier about how I didn't like traveling on the car because, you know, there's no fast travel, you're sitting in the car for like 2 to 3 minutes traveling to a point A to point B, and there's no dialogue. So you're just sitting there and you're like, what is this game? I didn't play here to play AFK Simulator, you know? But when I lost the car, then I realized how much I actually needed that car to travel from place to place. So the moment I lost the car, I was like, okay, you know, I'm putting all side missions on standby on like second priority. And I was going, first priority was to get my goddamn car back. So I go do the main mission, I get my car back. But after I get my car back, it still doesn't really solve any of the problems. Yes, I learned to appreciate the car a little bit more. Like, oh, you know, I can travel from place to place without doing much. But I would really like it if they could patch the game and like implement just fast travel. Just straight up fast travel from going from point A to point B. If I've been there before, I want to be able to fast travel there. Then later on in the story, you do some random shit, and then you need to go to Alticia. And so Luna is there in Alticia. So after chilling in Lucis, which is basically the first area in the game, you get a boat, which can bring you to Alticia. And Alticia is a very big town. It does have some hunts and some side missions, but it's still inside a town. But monsters don't spawn normally unless you pick up a hunt. And in Alticia, you can do a lot of stuff. You can go to the Coliseum, which you can bet on monsters, and you get this currency from it, which allows you to buy upgrades, such as for your fishing rods. It can give you, the grand prize is unlimited fuel for your car, but you don't have to do them. I didn't do any of them until post-game. And then you could also play a special pinball machine there that costs 10,000 gil, but that special pinball machine gives you probably one of the best items in the game. They give you the Dark Matter Bracelet, which increases your strength by 100. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best bracelets. And if you get 99 treasures on it, you can get the stupid doll, which allows, if you use it in alchemy or in elemancy, it gives you all of the best spells. It gives you 50 charges of flare, or I don't know what the lightning and what the ice one is called, but anyway, it's the highest tier of magic, and it gives you 50 charges of it. So that's really nice. Or you can sell it, and there are a lot of guides on YouTube already telling people, oh, you know, you can make 500k an hour, and it's all from this pinball machine. So, I mean, yeah, you could play that and just farm for these items, but I don't like playing this pinball machine very much. I much prefer to play, you know, Final Fantasy X style. I go out and I hunt shit and I kill stuff that are really high leveled or really difficult to kill or have a really low drop rate. I would much rather do that. And also, for people who are wondering if the ribbon was in the game, yes, the ribbon is in the game, but you need to collect those Oracle Ascension coins, and it costs 40 of them. I got my first ribbon, but I want 4, so I need to get farming on those. So in Chapter 8, you go to Alticia, and in Alticia, the main storyline is you want to summon the Leviathan. So the Leviathan is the big water sea creature thing that you see in the trailer. And so you summon her, and then she's like, okay, Noctis, you gotta prove yourself that you're worthy of my power, because she doesn't think that Noctis is worthy, and you have to fight her. So when you're fighting her, you get your ass whooped. You get your ass shit on so bad in the beginning. And then Arden comes out, and then you're like, hey, Arden, my man, you here to save me? And he doesn't save you. He stabs Luna with a dagger, just a regular dagger. And I was like, oh shit, man. This was the turning point for me, that I thought Arden was a cool guy that was helping me, to like, oh shit, man, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker because he just killed my wife. So I was like, oh shit. And then from that moment, I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna get strong. And I'm gonna kill Arden because he just killed Luna. But you know, I gotta get past this Leviathan first. So the Leviathan keeps you so busy that Arden just gets away. He's just like, okay, see you guys, and he gets on an airship and flies away. But you're still getting your ass whooped by this Leviathan. So Luna somehow does some magic, and she summons all of the Celestial. She summons all of the royal arms to you. So all the royal arms, they just come out from their tombs and they fly, and you can use them. And she also like semi-revives you or something. And so you become this godlike guy that can teleport, that can fly around, that can summon his weapons, and oh, it's so fun. It's super, super fun. That part was hands down the highlight of this game. And the music, oh my god, the music was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was so good. So after the fight, you pass out, and then there's this cutscene, and it's pretty cool.
Luna?
So, you found your way here.
And you found me.
A chance to see you once more. Who would have thought?
Well, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you see me?
Because my prayers have been answered. My calling fulfilled.
But that doesn't have to come between us.
You are the one, Noctis. The stars shine for you now. That which is yours by right shall be restored to you. Do you remember the flowers of Tenebrae? It seems so long ago. You'll find they await you still, blooming from hill to vale.
Will you be there?
Would that I could join you. But this moment will have to be enough.
It's not right. All I wanted was to save you.
When the world falls down around you and hope is lost. When you find yourself alone amid a lightless place. Look to the distance. Know that I am there. And that I watch over you always. Farewell, dear Noctis.
Back with us. I'll tell the others. Though it may take a bit. You're hurt. A small sacrifice in the greater battle. And Luna? She has passed. Umbra left that for you.
You realize that, you find out that Luna dies. Like, she didn't make it. She got stabbed, she spent all her mana, all her MP and life force trying to revive you, giving you all these godlike powers, and she just died. So you're like, shit. But before she died, she gave you the ring. And there's like a really emotional cutscene there where Luna's talking to you in a dream before you wake up. So that, you know, that part was good. That part was really good. So until chapter 8, and right after that ends, I guess the ending of chapter 8, the game was a masterpiece. It was great. I loved it. There were a few small problems, mainly the car and the traveling, but other than that, I liked the game. After that point, I just felt really annoyed. because, you know, it fast travels to like 2 weeks later where everyone is, you know, everyone's sort of recovered, and then you're on this train and you're going to another place now. And what really annoyed me was how the first dungeon you go into to get your next royal arm, Gladiolus is just a dick.
Is it too much to ask the royal procession sticks together? Too much to ask you to shut it?
Because what happened was, during that fight in chapter 8, Ignace, he gets hurt. Everyone gets hurt. But Ignace got hurt really bad. He lost his eyesight, so he basically can't see, or he has very limited vision. So he's kind of blind, but you bring him to the dungeon anyway. And so he's walking really, really slow. And each time you run ahead, Gladiolus will like do a voice line where he's like, "Oh, okay, fall back, man. Don't run so far ahead." But he's like in a really dick way.
Don't run ahead. Hurry up. Ain't got time to waste.
Think I don't know that?
We've got the power!
Might not have it for long, though. Hurry up and move the machine.
Yes, sir.
And it really pissed me off. I was like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But after that scene and after that entire dungeon, Ignace gets up and tells everyone to shut up. And he's like, listen, I can carry my own weight. I may be half blind or almost fully blind, but I'll carry my own weight, blah, blah, blah. And after that dungeon, then it's okay again. But you spend most of your time in a train. And this train is just going from point A to point B, and then it's just really boring. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Because the first half was so open world, so they gave you so much freedom that when they took it away and they gave it, you know, they put it back into like a linear storyline, I just felt like, they took something special. Not only did they take Luna away, and they also took away a lot of freedom in the world to fast travel and stuff. So you travel on this train, you get your weapons. You don't collect all 13, but there are a few optional ones. I guess the developers realized that they actually had to let you travel back into time, back to Lucis, but they didn't know how to do that, and I really didn't like the way they did it. In chapter 8, the moment you get to Alticia and you check into a hotel to rest, you find out, you meet Gentiana and Umbra. So they let you know that, oh, you can travel back to Lucis, but like back in time Lucis, you can't just take the boat and go back to present time Lucis. For some reason, they let you travel back in time. That's how they phrased it. So I was really confused when they said this. I was like, why would I need to travel back in time if I could just go back on the boat and go back to Lucis present time? But it was actually much later into the game till I realized why they did this. So later on in the game, you spend 10 years trapped in this crystal. In order to defeat Arden, you realize that you need to charge up this ring, that you need the power of the gods. So you go out and you find this crystal, because the crystal is the only way to charge up the ring. But what happens is this crystal actually absorbs you, because the crystal acknowledges that Noctis is worthy. So he's inside this crystal where he meets Bahamut, and Bahamut's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna teach you how to use this ring. And you're like, okay, cool, man. And so you go to hibernation as the ring absorbs all this power from the crystal. And he finishes absorbing the power eventually, but that's 10 years later. So you come out of hibernation, you wake up, and the world's all fucked up. Because in 10 years, you know, Arden, he basically screwed over everyone in the world. In Lucis, in Alticia, and whatever. And what he's done is, it's forever nighttime now. So demons are roaming everywhere, and the world is fucked. It just so happens that Hammerhead is now like this demon slaying military base thing. It's still the same size as regular Hammerhead, but they've got like electric fences and they've got demon slayers and shit. So it's pretty cool. And then you meet up with Ignace, with Gladiolus, and with Prompto. But, you know, they're 10 years older now. And they all look pretty badass. And then you go with them together to Insomnia to defeat Arden. And then you defeat Arden, and then the game's sort of over there. Yeah, that's the summary of the game, basically. So, do I recommend this game? Yeah, I do. It's quite fun. It wasn't worth the wait for 10 years, but I mean, to be honest, we had other games to occupy ourselves with, so whatever. But yes, it is worth the money. There's enough content to keep you busy. The pros in this game far outweigh the cons. Like, there are a few problems in this game, but they're not that significant, or they're not significant enough that I wouldn't play it. Because, as I said before, the first 8 chapters of this game was amazing. It was hands down just amazing. And then after that, there's from chapter 8 till chapter 15, the end of the game. It was okay. It wasn't great. That's what I can say. It wasn't great. Especially chapter 13. Chapter 13, I understand what they were going for, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But I understood what they were going for, so I just kind of rushed through that area. And then post-game gets amazing again. Basically because you're back in Lucis. You know, you're spending most of your post-game time in Lucis and Alticia, which are the 2 good parts, you know. So, you know, I'm not gonna give this a score, but it was definitely worth buying and worth playing. I got this on release day, you know, I pre-downloaded it, I was ready to play. I mean, it was fun. It was fun. It was worth. But yeah. So, I've been recording for 40 minutes, and I don't even know if I did a good review. Good luck, future me in editing. Yeah. Alright, I'm done here. Peace.